Good evening. We are back with another episode of Corner to Copa. This is a show that was not really planned out. If you pay attention, this is an ongoing discussion that we have been having, where I give Coach shit because Wencel Perez, does something good. I'm biased. He's one of my favorite players. Coach always downplays
Coming
it.
from the dude who went to the Tigers game with me wearing his CJ Abrams jersey. What?
I don't know what that has to do with
Oh,
my
okay.
support for Wencel Perez, but Coach seems to think that he is an expendable player, and I honestly feel like he could be
Yeah.
just because I
So
don't think that he doesn't have
I'll
a
reiterate.
high.
I'll,
Go
I'll
go
lead
ahead, go
you
ahead,
in.
go
I'll
ahead, go
lead you
ahead,
in.
go ahead.
I'll lead you in. Okay. So essentially where we're gonna pick up right into it here. We're kind of looking ahead to next year, and who can get back. It stemmed from an ongoing discussion about what the minimum ask in return should be from a Baltimore organization or from a Dodger organization. What the rumors we've been hearing over the last 8 days, 9 days now since the end of the first half through the All-Star entirety week off. Um, and I feel like with the guys we have, and I think with Parker, as long as he comes back and doesn't seriously re-injure himself, I think he's pretty much a guaranteed lock to be the next year's opening day center fielder. I mean, especially the way he was playing in Toledo and the last 8-9 days where he got hurt again.
Nah,
You got
no. Wait. I gotta stop you
yeah.
there. Okay, you're talking about his play in Toledo, which
Hey, you got to
that's
turn it
cool.
around in Toledo in order to get called back up, and he was doing it. He was
He
doing it
was,
all.
he was, but he only played in the Red Series. He just had
Yeah,
three
he
games,
he. Okay, so he played for half a week up. Yeah, but he came back
one
with authority.
series,
First game, home run.
one home run, one home run.
Stole
I don't.
two bases. Like he was doing it. He was getting around.
Well, that's how he got hurt. But
Well, yeah,
prior to,
okay.
but he's hitting like 100.
Yeah,
You
for the
know that, right?
year. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
the big sample size,
Okay,
not the.
yeah.
So yes,
And was he not
I
playing better in those first few games back before he got hurt?
yeah, for sure. But it was a very small sample size.
Okay.
It was one series,
Put it this way:
and
he did what Torkelson refuses to do in Toledo.
that's a whole nother story. We know that
Yeah.
Torque is Torque, and he's probably packing his bag soon. But to say that he's a lock, I mean, we would have hoped that going into the year he was a lock for the entire season, and we had to send him packing after like a month.
Yeah.
So
It was easier to do that than send Cole Keith down, who you gave $28 million fully guaranteed to. That'd have been embarrassing to do that. So
he was close. He was close to going to being sent down. But so I think that
we'll
yes,
keep it on track.
I think that Wencel Perez will be much more of a lock if Meadows would have stayed healthy. Post All-Star, post call up and held it down for the next couple of weeks. But I'm not prepared to say that he's ready to take over the job. I mean, because the reality is this: Wencel Perez, if Wencel Perez didn't come up and do as well as he did, we would be in seriously bad shape. He has done pretty much anything we've asked of him to do. He's played
right now. He takes your Tiger Rookie of the Year right now. You had one vote.
No, well, it's a battle between him and Colt Keith, but it's right there though. He's had a more consistent year than Colt Keith overall. Colt Keith has got really, really hot in the last month and a half, but Wencel Perez has pretty much weathered the storm.
We could see him starting to but when we were looking up the Savant stats and other stuff for Colt, we could tell, all right, this guy's barreling it up. His sweet spot, his barrel percentage is there. It's baseball bounces in that turn. You just gotta find it where they aren't. And then he finally started doing it. And then the power came around, and then his glove kind of quieted down because I for sure was dogging him for the first 8 weeks about not only his inability to hit, but his all of a sudden inability to defend at second.
He was bringing his bat out to the field.
Pretty much vice versa.
In my eyes. Because he hasn't made hardly any mistakes since he's been hitting. And I don't think there's any coincidence to that. But as far as Wencel Perez is concerned, He's done everything that's been asked. He's played defense. I mean, he does not have a strong arm.
No,
Every
you're being kind. He has a terrible arm.
That's fair. I mean, I don't even think the analytics says that it's a terrible arm. I think it's more like in the 50 in the
Analytics won't show it because he got demoted from playing second base. You can't make a 45
no,
foot
no, no.
throw.
But we're talking about his outfield. He'll never
I
play
know,
in the infield again. So
but
that's not
what I mean,
important.
though. You rely on him as a defensive player too. Yeah, he can cover ground. He's definitely speedy for sure. Problem is throw. If he grades out poorly as a thrower in the infield, how are you going to be that more accurate from a further distance in the outfield? It doesn't translate.
It's different. He played second base. You're saying that his arm was too weak for second base?
They said he could not make that throw accurately. That's why he got demoted.
Accuracy.
He was a middle infielder all the way through college, and then finally he could not make that throw to first base in the minor leagues. So much so that they told him, you know what, infield ain't for you. We got to find you another spot in order to keep you on the roster.
So we're gonna put you in the outfield.
Right field is where you go to hide people with bad arms. That's not.
He plays both. He plays both corners. I mean, mostly right. Yeah, mostly right.
Because he's got a below average arm, almost. Parker included, when he went down, when we first sent him down, he was the number 1 overall graded, both in range and range is something else in terms of all MLB center fielders.
Outs above average or something like that. But you got to be able to hit. You got to be able to hit though.
True.
And one thing that I do like about Parker, and I think that when he comes back, we'll continue to see that, is he has good plate discipline. He doesn't strike out. He walks a ton. He doesn't chase.
And he's got power too.
He's got power. He's got three this year. He's got 3 home runs this year in limited games, but that's literally been it. He's probably got, out of his 9 hits, 3 of them are home. You know, like, it's got to be more consistent than that. So I feel like he's not. I feel like at your optimum, Wencel Perez is your number 4 outfielder, but he's been serviceable.
So then where does that leave Malloy then for next year? He's now just DH. Pretty much a foregone outfielder. He'll just be a DH only.
Malloy is a very, if you want to talk about Malloy's arm, I've never really seen him throw a ball where he's had to throw somebody out.
Right.
But as far as covering ground, Malloy, that's a big boy. He's really should be at first base. If all things considered, that's where Malloy needs to be, is at first base. I don't know if they tried it or thought about it.
I've seen the projections. They're moving Colt over to first. I mean, he's a big boy himself. He don't really steal much of anything.
So once again, where does Malloy go if you move him to? I think. Well, I don't know. Colt's been better. I don't know if I'm ready to move him to. I don't know if I'm ready to move him to first now, because he's looked better at second. I've seen him make some nice plays as far as that exchange from the shortstop to him. I think that he does, because he was a third baseman first. He just hurt his shoulder, and they said that either he's got to have surgery or he can never play third base again. So I think he had the arm at one point. I think he just got hurt. But yeah, I think that Malloy is going to be a DH. I think that so Colt is either going to be a first baseman or stay at second. You got Riley Green obviously holding down 1/4 outfield. That's obvious. Outside of that, Canna, who has been our primary left fielder, is going to be gone next year.
And so I think Veerling slides into there.
Into left field. Left field.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Play, so
but that's only if Parker sticks at center. Yeah. And we got to find a third baseman, because our starting third baseman is essentially, Urshela. Yeah. You can maybe say Urshela is the starting third baseman, but once again, he's probably not coming back, right? Because really, Veerling is still our starting third baseman, kind of. It's all moving pieces. It's all moving pieces.
But it's just it'll be tough, I think, in my opinion, for Perez to continue what he's doing.
Why?
When he's not getting consistent playing time.
I think he plays almost every day. He's playing right now.
I know he's playing right now. I'm just saying though, he there's some days where he gets a couple days off and whatnot, when he's in a slump. I mean,
Maybe he gets a
Perez
day off,
is
maybe when
streaky.
there's a lefty up, but even then,
Perez, when he gets his, it's in small bursts, small bunches, and then he'll go cold for a bit,
you said
and then
that a
he'll
week
do
ago,
something
but he's
again.
still hitting now. You're right though. You're right. And you know what's funny is in my player profile, I say he's a streaky hitter.
Yeah,
But
and you've got a bunch
but
of
I
other
said
young
that
guys who've
but I
been
said that a
streaky all
month
year.
ago, and he had like 3 home runs. I want to pull up
That's what I'm
the.
saying. At some point, I know Veerling is technically a veteran, right? He's obviously been in some
He's a
organizations.
vet. He's legit a
So,
vet. He's not an old
but
man, but he's a vet.
yeah, but then you look at the rest of the guys who are in their mid-20s, early 20s out there. With Green, Perez obviously is young. Malloy is obviously young. Parker's obviously young. At some point, somewhere these positions. If you're gonna say that, Canna, Gio, and most likely Ibanez, because they're all in the same structure, if they all don't return, you still need to go find some veterans somewhere. And I'm sorry too, but I think
These guys are
as we're
getting older
treating
though.
Jake Rogers as
Riley Green is a young guy anymore. He's a vet.
what, third year up.
Now, next year he'll be in his
That's
4th year. That's
insane.
not
Is
a
it
vet to
fourth?
you.
He's
He's a
fourth.
vet.
It's close.
He's about to get
I,
paid.
I, I feel like a
Once
vet's
you get
fine.
that first max, once you get that first big deal, you're a vet. Cade
I feel
Cunningham,
like the number's
not to
5
change
because
sports, but once you get that, yeah, Wencel, Perez, and Malloy are the exact same age. I just want to.
Okay. They're gonna have to find some veterans somewhere additionally to recoup what they're gonna lose here.
I hope they're better. I hope they're more because to be honest,
because obviously Baez and Maeda are probably on their way out in some form or fashion.
Thank God.
One for sure.
I don't know about
Baez.
Baez.
And yeah, and I know we've heard from Illich. They said most likely if they trade Baez, it'll be a bad contract for bad contract. So obviously, we're not necessarily going to get rid of our problem because we're welcoming in a different one.
I can't imagine anybody taking on, because it's one thing, okay, bad contract, but what's the value in you taking on Baez's contract?
I think there is still a soft cap minimum. Like the NHL has a firm minimum for total salary to remain competitive, obviously without sandbagging. I know baseball technically has never really had a firm salary cap. They've had more of a luxury tax, but it'd be if you want to write it off or whatever. The guy's not maybe going to play. You buy him out after, but yeah, no, it's Detroit's going to eat some of that in some way, shape, or form. Baez his contract's going to get eaten by Detroit over the next probably few years or more, but you got to imagine you got to see what's out there on the free agency list come the winter meetings. When free agency goes live and all that, because things move quickly. And look, it's good to be youthful, but at the same time, this team still needs some direction. You look at, they got technically 2 veteran catchers. One of them's not going to be back. At least they both shouldn't be.
No, there's no way.
They're both almost 30 years old. It looks like I think I was reading of Jake Rogers is arbitration 1 eligible. He's only making $1.7 million this year. But Carson Kelly, you're he's right in the same slot, so he's gonna be getting right around the same amount. And then you got who we just
Carson Kelly made 3 this year. More or less, but
yeah. And then in the player profile we did just more recently with Dylan Dingler. So who I think truly is not going to. I think he's ready.
He's 26. He's not it's not like he's 22 years old. He's 26. So you ish or get off the pot with him. Like either you're going to trade him, which I think that would be messed up when you considering you have two 30-year-old catchers, not guys that are taking constant wear and tear on your body. So yeah.
Like back in the day when they had Pudge and Gerald Laird, 2 guys over 30, but they were both very good contributors in different ways. But yeah, I mean, and Dingler's got he's got more consistent slugging and power than both these. I think Jake is obviously a very likable guy. He's a fun personality, but at some point in time, like you said, everyone else, they've gone youthful everywhere else. This is kind of the last position, if you will, non-pitching position that they are up there in age on, really. I mean, obviously, if you're counting this year with the infield, with technically Andy being, technically a second baseman, but he can play multiple, and then obviously Gio being third. They're okay. Yeah, then all of a sudden your infield becomes a bit more older, if you will, considering Mark's Candace played more
actually, the
outfield.
infield is really old outside of Colt because Baez, I don't know, he plays like he's 100 years old. But you got Gio and Canna playing first, and then Gio playing third, and then Vierling playing third. Yeah, it's the outfield that's young, really.
Yeah. I mean, but take away the vets that we know most likely aren't going to come back if we don't trade him, then it suddenly becomes the infield becomes real young, real fast.
Yeah.
But I don't think, unless Parker catches a case that his brother caught. No.
Hey, I don't even want to wish that.
Slam that. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that as an excuse or being facetious about it.
Right.
I'm just saying, barring something crazy like that, something that we just don't see at all, or very, very rarely of, I don't see how Wencel comes in as a starting center fielder next year. If we are, I feel like we're in trouble.
Not center field per se, because like I said, if for some reason Parker's not ready, which he very well could not be ready, because yes, he's hit well. He's only hit well in AAA, which we can say the same thing about a lot of players. Akil Baddoo hits well in plays center field in AAA, but you move Riley Green, who's played a ton of center field lately. You move Vierling, who's played center field a decent amount. And then you can push Wencel off into the corner because he's been one of our more consistent players. Like from beginning to end, he's been, outside of Vierling and Green, who has been more consistent than him position-wise? Vierling and Green. Baez awful. Gio had yes, but he can only play. He can only play against lefties, and you know. Okay, so but yes, of course. Ibanez, I always want to call him Infante. Ibanez, another one of Baez. I'm biased towards.
Ibanez, yeah.
No, I'm saying, but I'm biased towards him. You can't say anything bad about him. Yeah. But other than that, he's been consistent. He lays down the bunt when you need it. He can run the bases. He hits for power on occasion. He plays solid defense. He's in the 50th percentile of throwing strength. Okay, I'm looking at it right now.
Just think they could upgrade in the offseason.
Well, arm value, it says 2, but strength 54. So he's just not accurate. Okay, so he's terribly inaccurate.
Like, to my point about second base.
Yes, but he doesn't. But screw second base. He doesn't play second base, so it's not worth talking about.
It's a shorter throw, is my point, and it's a more direct throw.
Yeah, I know. There's only so many angles I get it. I get it.
And being like, yo, I can't make that. I can throw it fast, but you have no idea where it's gonna go. Sounds great until your pop time looks like a record, but you throw it into. You're in Michigan, you throw it over the border into Windsor. Like, come on.
It's not that far. But here's the moral of the story. Moral of the story. I don't want to get too far off on it. I don't want to get to be too much of a Wencel Perez slappy. I don't think on a playoff team he is a starting anything, whether it's corner or center fielder. But the reality is, based upon the layout that we have right now, we cannot bank on Parker Meadows being the center fielder next year, because he took a dump when he did it in the first month of the year, and then he got hurt. The inkling that we got that, okay, he's gonna be good. He got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 3 stolen bases at the major league level, and he's got caught stealing twice. He's not even really a good. Well, he didn't have any opportunities
Well, he
because he
got
wasn't
hurt on the one he stole or tried to
right.
steal.
That's
He
what I'm.
would have been
So,
safe,
so
but
do
he
you
got hurt.
want it? So when he comes back in a couple weeks, because he's starting running now. He's coming back
Don't
soon.
even get me started about those updates. Those things piss me off. Those are the weakest updates I've ever seen.
Yeah, because they don't want to talk about it.
They're
But
continuing. They don't need to put it. I'm sorry, but they don't need to post it.
I want to
Just
see.
tell us
I
when
want to
there's
see
something
something though.
significant.
I do want to see something. But do you want him stealing a ton of bases when he gets back? I don't.
Well, obviously he's got to be. I mean, I'm sure he'll be. He won't be put in the game if he can't steal, which means he can't.
You don't know. We didn't think he was going to get hurt when
I'm
he
not
got
saying
hurt.
give him the green light, but I'm just saying though that sounds ridiculous because if he can't run and steal, he's running with almost the same amount of strength of running the bases he would on a base hit from someone else.
That's fair because you're going to slide. You're going to do that. So
You're still
I
going to
get
take
it. So
angles. You're still going to run hard. It's just stealing is just a lot easier. Well, it's a lot chopped up version of rounding. Going from first to home on an extra base hit. Because it's segmented into 90 feet at a time versus 270 feet or 180 feet from second.
Right.
But
yes, so we still need to go get because we have a multitude of corner outfielder guys, but Malloy can't play in the field, so you can't really count him. Well, I can't say he can't because he does sometimes, but he's not really a respectable corner outfielder, I don't think. I think you still good. I think we still need to go out and get another corner outfield big bat if need be, whether it's via trade or free agency to replace Canada. Canada was cool. Canada was versatile. He was disciplined at the plate, but we needed that Vlad Guerrero. You throw a Vlad Guerrero in the middle of our lineup, you make everybody better. Riley Green gets protection.
I'm like, if they wanted to spend and get spicy with it this offseason, you go to Vladdy, which I believe he is free agent. Could be wrong on that, but I know Alonso is, and he's rejected almost every trade option so far, and including an extension from the Mets. I go up to him back. All right, here's 3 years. 3 years, $100 million. I don't know what.
He's on
85 guaranteed.
You said who? You said Pete Alonso?
Yeah.
He's a first baseman?
I believe
what position did he play? Huh? I think he's a first baseman. But yeah, Vlad's on a 1 year, $20 million deal right now. So yeah, he's a free agent.
Yeah, and Vlad coming can play third and first, but let's be real, he's probably more of a first baseman.
Yeah, because they actually, I feel like they were like showcasing him, but when he played us this past weekend on the return after All-Star break, he played third base, but they were kind of like, what? Like it wasn't natural, basically.
Yeah,
but I'll bring him here to play either one if he can provide more on the. So
and that's kind of what I mean. Like if where they've lost these veterans that are gonna walk or they're gonna trade, or they're gonna have to go fill the spot, you're not gonna just fill it all with young guys because then you're not gonna have a single young guy in the lineup or a single vet really outside of what we'll say Veerling and Green, and then probably Carson or Jake, whichever one they decide not to keep.
Yeah.
So
we'll keep one.
Like
I think Kelly gets traded because he's the one that actually has value. I don't think Jake Rogers has value, and I think you bring Dingler up.
Yeah. And I'd hate to.
I'm more concerned about our pitching than anything, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. I mean,
we have nobody.
Maeda gone, Flaherty dealt.
Maeda's not gone. What do you mean?
If they bring him back next year.
Next year. I'm not worried about our pitching next year, but I'm certainly worried about it for the rest of the year.
I mean, it'll be in the same boat going into next year until you sign guys.
Well, yeah, but they can. They're not going to sign anybody now because
there's plenty of guys. They got.
You're right.
Assuming Flaherty goes, you got 3 bullpen days open because you'll have Skubal and no, because Mize and Olsen are on IL. Maeda will have to come back. He's going to have to come back and start.
For
They're not going to have
sure.
a choice right now
For
when
sure.
Flaherty goes. And
You're
then
gonna
you can
you're
go.
gonna see Bro Brisky and Faedo. You're gonna see a whole bunch of guys.
They can go out and get James Paxton. Just got DFA'd by the Dodgers just purely because they ran out of room and he was a temporary guy until the rest of their guys came back. We threw out. I think they threw out some other names. Trevor Bauer. I know it's been a hot topic with him over the last several months, but like the dude is performing and he's performing well against major leaguers. They have absolutely nothing to lose. Detroit does right now by offering him a deal for the rest of the year for whatever the prorated minimum for his time of service in the MLB is set at for the market.
And
I
then
don't
what
care if it's $5 million.
cut your losses on whoever sending that somebody down. Is that how you playing it or
Well,
what?
no. Versus calling someone up. Like frankly, like we've talked about it. Jackson Jobe sounds exciting. He's doing really well. Guy hasn't pitched that much because he missed a chunk of the spring earlier where he was hurt for 3-4 weeks. He missed some time, and they
Yeah,
kind of eased him back in. Now he's at Double A. Like,
as they should.
if they're in that position later in the year and they're not playing for anything, I see zero reason to call him up. You take care of him.
Yeah.
You get him through his program, end of the year program regiment. You get him transition to the off season,
And you get them ready for the start of the year because it's time.
Yeah, and then I'm sure they'll start. Shut down for a little bit. He'll go through some medical stuff to make sure, and then they'll start working on in the off season, whether it's personal trainers or team trainers. They'll start working on longevity, getting his endurance up. So that way, they're eventually going to because they're going to work on increasing his pitch count to what they'd like to see somewhere around 90 to 100. So that's kind of the next step. I don't see a reason why to push him up just because there's an open spot, but you're really not playing for anything. Even though you might still be 8-9 games out of the wild card in mid to late August, early September, but there's 6 other teams ahead of you. Like, okay, it's just not in the cards. So, I don't see a reason to bring him up. Go out, pay someone right now. Get Trevor Bauer. You're gonna get Trevor Bauer and James Paxton. If this staff did that with Flaherty, who's to say that those two guys can't come in and be more than respectable and serviceable for the rest of the year?
I don't think it's about whether or not they think that Bauer can do it. I think it's more of a PR.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
It was dismissed, found, and she admitted it was all fabricated. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. The guys out there's other guys out there too that are available that, a few of them in their later 20s, most of them in their 30s. I think with the amount of gaps they have, calling random kids up from AAA and AA right now, just to get shelled? Like, Jackson Jobe right now is the next closest guy down there in the minors of name that we know well enough of where it's like, okay, this guy's definitely looking like a potential or probable, in some cases, mindsets to be in the rotation next year already.
He's got to be.
So if you're not going to risk him, then it doesn't make sense to burn these other kids that are between him and the parent club just to fill the spot. You've been doing that all year.
But so why hasn't anybody else? Hold on, let's take a break because we need some ads to be running in between. I meant to do it earlier, but we've continued to go. Hold on, let's take a break real quick. Okay, so the elephant in the room is that the whole Trevor Bauer situation. No one else, as many teams have gone through injuries because everybody has pitching injuries, of course. Do we really think that Trevor Bauer is ever gonna? Maybe it's hard to say. Never will be in the major leagues again, but don't you think by now that somebody would have picked him up?
I think what it is, it's a waiting game to see who blinks first. They want to. I feel like
playing chicken.
This is just guttural, speaking right now. I think that because you got to dismiss way earlier in the calendar year, so he's been available all this time.
Yeah.
So, but I think that they think that it's still too close from the end of it, where the risk of backlash in signing him would be more or less versus waiting longer or later as possible and then maybe making a soft offer. But knowing how reactive people are on social media, obviously, you don't want to piss people off, especially your own fans. But I mean, you're proven innocent. You're innocent until proven guilty, and he was found not guilty.
Allegedly, we all know that's not how it really goes.
She admitted that it was
It's
fabricated.
It's guilty until proven innocent in a lot of cases. But
That's
I
what's
get what you're
messed up
saying.
about this. So I mean,
Absolutely,
we can about that greater aspect. We can go in circles with that. Obviously, going back the last 5 years, with some other sport individuals, but he's there. He's pitched 4 times now this year against major league teams and on different teams too.
What platforms have these been? Because I've been seeing stuff on social media, but I don't really know to what extent he's been doing that. What are we talking about?
He pitched for the one Korean team. Remember they played in Korea, San Diego, and whatever. They played like a combo, like all-star little thing with them. He pitched against him there. He pitched against him with 2 different Mexico League teams that came and
these were against major league players, or these were just professional?
Teams. Major league teams. Yeah. So I mean, and
this was like spring. This is like the spring. This is like before the season started, or
right around there. Yeah. Then I think the Korea one was right around there, the opening day of baseball when they it was the Padres and someone else opened up in with a 3-game series in Korea, and they did this whole week-long thing about it, and they their own Korean All-Stars played, I think, a combo of those 2 teams players, but he's got some good stat lines against major league players, major league roster players now.
Well, he's done it in the major leagues
True.
The major leagues. So that's no surprise there.
Yeah, and we we're probably more famous for him watching him blow up on the mound mentally after getting pulled in Kansas City, threw that ball way out in center field, and Tito, the recently retired Tito, got on him, and then he got I think he was traded that week right before the All-Star break. But the fire's there. He's on some social media accounts with the JUCO King. I watch. Shout out to the JUCO King on his YouTube channel. Bauer's in there regularly.
Some videos.
Yeah. And he's still got some good stuff. So yeah, I mean, to kind of bring it back in, there's guys out there that I think that they should go out and spend the extra, maybe collectively $8, $9, $10 million to get 2 or 3 guys. And who knows? Like you said, if Parker comes back and he can kind of resume where he was kind of getting back into before he got hurt, coming back up again. They do trade Flaherty, but they get those guys. Scooble continues. They get Reese Olson and Casey Mize back. Suddenly the rotation looks a little more stable. Maybe you can move Mize to the bullpen possibly if you needed to. And if they keep hitting the way they've been hitting over the last few weeks, maybe they do make some crazy late run that cost them nothing, and all they really had to get rid of was a Mark Canha or a Jack Flaherty. And it's like, okay, they're a little different, but they're still feisty. But in terms of next year, Parker would have to do something crazy for me to see Wencel, Perez starting at center field or right field next year.
Seeing him play center field. Green is a respectable center fielder.
Yeah.
Yearling is a respectable center fielder. That leaves a spot open for Perez to continue to play right field, because we can agree he's a better right fielder than Malloy, correct?
I mean, if we don't see Olson playing outfield ever again.
Olson?
I mean,
you talking about Canha?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Malloy.
Yeah, Malloy. Yeah. You said Olson.
Yeah. No, because I figured that he wouldn't be playing the outfield again. He'd be DH and maybe be taught to learn first base a little bit too.
Honestly, they tried him out at third base last year a little bit. just because you don't have to be super mobile to play third base or less mobile than whatever. Plus, Torque was our first baseman of the future. So there was no need to put him at first base because they knew Torque had that position on lock because he was amazing last year. But at any rate, I don't think it. Yeah, the beauty in it is that Meadows is an amazing defensive guy. So if he can hit anywhere around 200, it may be worth it. But
I think he'll probably
we haven't seen that. We saw it in a small sample size last year where he hit around 200 and he bottomed out completely at the beginning of this year. Was good in AAA, which a lot of our players have been, including Baду, Kryler, Eddie Leonard, a lot of our guys. Hessman, right?
Hessman's a hitting coach down there.
Right, but he's a career great AAA guy.
He owns a lot of records down in Toledo,
But when Meadows got back to Detroit, had one good series, and he got hurt. It's just, it is what it is. How old is Parker Meadows?
Let's see here. I got it up.
He's in low 20s, I want to say, but let's see here. 24. Same age as Wencel Perez. All these guys are 24.
They don't have him.
He'll be 25 in November. In 131. Saving grace is that he walks a lot. I'll give him that. I don't want to drag it though. We've been we did a full. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I think he's 4-tool. I don't know if he's. I mean, yeah, he can hit homers at Toledo, but if he can hit homers at the big league level, respectively 15 or so, like
4-tool because what? Average. Clearly not average.
It's for average. Great defender. Good above average arm, and he steals bags. He's got the speed to steal bags.
So 4-tool, but if you can't hit, that's a bad one.
True. Yeah. There's a
difference between not hitting for average and hitting for no average.
Yeah. At that point, it would be like, okay, then you would shift over. Then you would get Perez to start, and then usually end game, late game, 8th, 9th inning. If you've got a 2-run lead, then that's when you would substitute for defense in the end of the game and put in
but
Parker.
He's clutch. You might need that run production in the clutch. Wencel Perez is a pretty good. From what I recall, is pretty good with runners in scoring position and runners on base. So I don't even know.
Hobby.
Well, the team as a whole is actually pretty good with runners in scoring position. Surprisingly, we just don't hit for any power.
Yeah.
Although I think we hit the most. Surprisingly, I think we had some of the best power in July. This is how it works.
Yeah, I saw there was a stat on the Tigers broadcast earlier in the game. They said that they had the most home runs by rookies, 28 this year, and
we got three rookies. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
And they have the highest average of rookies run generated per game at like 0.43 runs a game contributed by rookies on the team.
Yeah, we definitely have a young team, but we got 3 rookies that are going to hit 10 plus home runs this year. Malloy's going to hit 10 plus home runs. Perez is, and Colt's already there.
Yep. And I think Colt is going to end up taking off.
Hope so.
Absolutely. But yeah, we've gone on for 39 minutes.
Yeah, well, this has been a full show. This has been a full show, but you know what? It was good content. We were going to argue offline for the next 30 minutes anyway, so screw it. I do want to watch the rest of the Flaherty outing because he's got a shutout, as our pitchers normally, or our top 3 pitchers normally do. But definitely enjoy this debate. Please, share your own opinions on it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is where you're going to get it first, and subscribe to the Corner to Copa. Because we bring you good debates. Like, this is one of the first real deal debates we've had in a couple months. So, enjoy this, and feel free to let Coach know that, he's wrong. No, I'm just playing. But yeah,
those of you on YouTube of the 2 names you mentioned for first base, a free agent. which one you'd like to see more and why. But between Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Pete Alonso, or is there a third option you'd like to see in terms of free agency? Not necessarily trades over the winter, but guys that are going to be expiring contracts at the end of this current season. Drop in the comment below on YouTube.
Absolutely, we need as much engagement as possible. But yeah, we out of here, man. We done enough.
Fire AJ.